Society has sold you the most dangerous lie ever created. A lie so comfortable, so socially accepted, and so deeply programmed into your mind that most people never question it for a single second. From the moment you were old enough to understand language, the world started conditioning you. Your teacher's parents repeat it. Your coworkers defend it. The television glorifies it. The entire system depends on you accepting it without resistance. The lie is simple. If you work hard between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., eventually you will become financially secure, happy, and free. That is the promise. Wake up early, sit in traffic, obey the rules, climb the corporate ladder, stay loyal, work overtime, save a little money, retire someday. And then what? Then maybe after giving away the best decades of your life, you finally get permission to live. Well, let me ask you something. Have you noticed how the people who work the hardest are often the ones under the most pressure financially? Have you noticed how millions of people spend 40 years working nonstop only to retire anxious, exhausted, unhealthy, and completely dependent on a system they trusted their entire lives? Have you noticed how the average person is more entertained than ever before, yet more depressed, distracted, and financially trapped than any generation in modern history? That is not an accident. The system was never designed to make you free. It was designed to keep you functional. Dental people keep the economy running. Free people become difficult to control. And once you understand this, your entire life changes forever. Because your future will not be determined by what you do while someone else is watching you. Your future will be determined by what you do when nobody is forcing you to do anything at all. The real battle for your life begins at 6 p.m. That is the moment everything changes. At 6 p.m., the boss disappears, the emails slow down, and for the first time all day, your life actually belongs to you. But most people never realize the significance of that moment. They walk through the front door exhausted, mentally drained, emotionally numb. Their brain is overloaded from stress, deadlines, traffic, no endless responsibilities. The couch calls their name. The television promises escape. Social media offers instant dopamine. Netflix autoplays the next episode before they can even think. And suddenly the entire evening disappears. 3 hours gone, 4 hours gone, another day dead. And the next morning they wake up wondering why their life never changes. Listen carefully, the average person does not lose their future during working hours. They lose it during the hours they think do not matter, the evenings. That is where financial destinies are quietly built or destroyed. When I was younger, people assumed success came from intelligence. They thought billionaires had some secret magical talent, some rare gift. But after decades of observing human behavior, I realized something very different. Success is less about intelligence and more about direction. Most people are intelligent enough to improve their lives. They simply never direct their time toward building anything for themselves. They direct all their energy toward surviving. That is the trap. The modern worker wakes up already tired. They spend 8 to 10 hours building somebody else's business, somebody else's dream, somebody else's future. By the time evening arrives, they have nothing left emotionally for themselves. And because they are emotionally depleted, they seek comfort. Comfort becomes the addiction. Entertainment becomes the lifestyle. But here is the painful truth. Every night you spend consuming instead of creating, you are quietly laying through strangers' lives. Quietly delaying lives is an hour stolen from building your own. Every evening spent numbing yourself instead of growing yourself compounds into years of regret. And compounding works whether you realize it or not. People understand financial compounding, but they ignore emotional and behavioral compounding. Small daily habits shape entire lifetimes. A single hour every evening may not feel important tonight, but 1 hour a day becomes 365 hours a year, 2 hours in spending 700 focused hours learning a skill, building a business, studying investments, creating content, improving your health, or mastering communication. Do you realize how dangerous that would make you to mediocrity? Most people never commit to anything long enough to see compounding take effect. They want immediate rewards, immediate validation, immediate results. But wealth is built invisibly long before it becomes visible publicly. When I was young in Omaha, nobody thought I was building anything extraordinary. I looked boring. I spent nights reading annual reports while other people relaxed. I studied businesses while others watched television. I read financial statements while others drank at bars, and in the beginning there were no visible rewards, no applause, no recognition, no headlines, but repetition compounds, and eventually the results become impossible to ignore. The world celebrates visible success but ignores invisible discipline. People see the billionaire. They never see the decades of evenings spent alone studying while the rest of the world entertained itself. That is the price nobody wants to pay. Everyone wants freedom. Very few people want the lifestyle required to create it because freedom is expensive and the payment is made in advance. The modern world is perfectly engineered to prevent deep thinking. Everything around you is designed to hijack your attention. Social media companies compete for your focus. Streaming platforms compete for your evenings. Fast food companies compete for your outrage. Every billion-dollar corporation understands one thing about human psychology. Exhaust people are easy to manipulate. When your brain is tired, discipline disappears. Decision-making weakens, impulse control collapses, and that is exactly when the algorithms attack. Late at night, when you are emotionally vulnerable, when you are mentally drained, when your willpower battery is empty, the autoplay begins, the scrolling continues, the notifications arrive. And suddenly you are spending the only free hours of your life feeding companies that profit from your distraction. You think you are relaxing, but in reality, your attention is being harvested. Your future is being consumed one evening at a time. The dangerous part is this feels normal because everyone around you is doing the same thing, but normal behavior creates average lives. And average lives often end in quiet desperation. Most people do not need more information. They need interruption. They need someone to shake them awake before they waste another decade living unconsciously. So let me ask you a serious question. What are you doing after 6 p.m.? Not what you wish you were doing, not what you plan to do someday. What are you consistently doing every night right now? Because your evenings reveal your real priorities. Your evenings reveal whether you are building a future or escaping from the present. There are two types of people in this world. The first group uses evenings to escape reality. The second group uses evenings to change reality. The first group stays entertained. The second group becomes wealthy. And understand this clearly. True wealth is control over your schedule, control over your attention, control over your environment. Control over your decisions, control over your life. Most people never achieve that level of control because they never develop ownership over their evenings. The middle class views evenings as recovery time. The wealthy view evenings as opportunity. That mindset difference changes everything. When Steve Wozniak finished work at Hewlett-Packard, he did not spend his nights mindlessly consuming entertainment. He went into his garage and started building computers for fun, not because he was forced to, not because anyone paid him, because it energized him. That hobby eventually became Apple. People misunderstand entrepreneurship completely. They imagine successful people were endlessly grinding themselves into exhaustion. The greatest builders often discover forms of work that feel deeply meaningful. To outsiders, it looks obsessive. To them, it feels alive. That is why active creation beats passive entertainment every single time. Passive entertainment numbs you, temporarily you permanently. And the beautiful part is your brain already knows this. Think about the last time you spent an entire weekend binge watching shows. Did you feel energized afterward? No, you probably felt guilty, sluggish, anxious, and mentally foggy. Now think about a time you learned something meaningful, built something creative, solved a difficult problem, exercised consistently, or improved yourself. Even if it was hard, you felt stronger afterward. Why? Because humans are designed for progress. Your mind craves growth. Comfort feels good temporarily. Growth feels good deeply. And deep satisfaction always beats temporary pleasure. The problem is temporary pleasure is easier. That is why most people choose it. They sacrifice long-term freedom for short-term comfort. And every year the consequences compound. One day they wake up trapped, financially trapped, and worst of all, mentally trapped. Because after years of distraction, they lose confidence in their ability to change. That is what truly destroys people. Not lack of intelligence, not lack of opportunity, loss of belief. Once a person stops believing they can transform their future, they surrender, psychological. They settle, and settling becomes a lifestyle. But you must never allow yourself to settle, not in your habits, not in your finances, not in your discipline, not in your standards. The world rewards people who remain uncomfortable long enough to grow. Everything valuable in life lives on the other side of discomfort. Strength, wisdom, wealth. Freedom, confidence, all earned through temporary sacrifice. There is no shortcut around that truth. And that is why evenings matter so much, because evenings are where discipline either strengthens or collapses. At 7 p.m., nobody is monitoring you. Nobody is grading you. Nobody is forcing you to improve, which means your choices finally reveal who you truly are. A disciplined person builds when nobody is watching. An average person when external pressure exists. That distinction creates entirely different lives over time. You do not need to become perfect overnight. You simply need to reclaim ownership. Start by protecting your evenings from distraction. Guard your attention aggressively. Turn off algorithms, decide how you spend your life. Stop letting it create a simple ritual after work. Change your clothes, take a walk out or sit mentally, separate your work identity from your personal identity, then dedicate focus time toward your future. Maybe you read, maybe you write, maybe you learn digital marketing, maybe you study investing, maybe you build content online. Maybe you start a business, maybe you improve your health. The consistency compounds harder than intensity. Most people fail because they chase motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Systems create results. You need structure, a predictable evening routine. A repeatable process, something automatic enough to survive bad moods and stressful days, because stressful days never disappear. Life never becomes perfectly convenient. If you wait until conditions feel ideal, you will waste your entire life waiting. The successful learn to execute despite imperfect conditions. That is the real superpower, not intelligence, not talent, execution day after day, year after year, especially during the silent years when nobody notices your progress, and those silent years are emotionally brutal. Your friends may not understand you anymore. Your lifestyle changes, your priorities change. You say no more often. You spend more time alone. And for a while, there is no visible reward. That is when most people quit. They crave immediate validation. But the wealthy understand delayed gratification. They understand invisible growth. A bamboo tree spends years growing underground before anything becomes visible above the surface. But once the roots are established, explosive growth follows. Human success works the same way. Your evenings are building invisible roots. Your discipline is building roots. Your focus is building roots. One day, the visible results arrive suddenly. People call it overnight success, but there is no such thing. There are only years of invisible preparation finally becoming visible publicly. And when that happens, the same people who mocked your discipline will suddenly admire your results. They will call you lucky. They will ask for advice. They will wonder how you changed your life so dramatically. But they will never fully understand the thousands of evenings you sacrificed to create that transformation. That is why you cannot build your life around external approval. You must build around internal standards. Because external approval changes constantly, internal standards create every evening. Did I move closer to freedom today? Did I invest in myself today? Did I create more than I consume today? Did I protect my attention today? Did I honor my future today? Those questions matter far more than temporary comfort. At the end of your life, nobody cares how many shows you binge watched. Nobody cares how perfectly you kept up with celebrity gossip. Nobody cares how many hours you spent scrolling through social media. But you will care deeply about whether you used your time wisely. Time is the ultimate currency. Money lost can be earned again. Opportunities lost, but time disappears forever. But every evening matters, because every evening becomes your life eventually. And the terrifying reality is most people do not notice life slipping away until it is too late. One day becomes 1 week, 1 year becomes 1 decade. Suddenly you are older, your energy changes, your opportunities narrow, your regrets multiply. That is why urgency matters, not panic at your urgency. You do not need to destroy your mental health chasing money, but you absolutely must become intentional about your life, because intentional people eventually create extraordinary outcomes. Drifting people rarely do. The average person drifts through evenings unconsciously. The exceptional person designs evenings deliberately. That single difference compounds into completely different futures. You must become obsessed with protecting your focus. Focus is modern wealth in a distracted world. Deep focus becomes a superpower. Most people cannot sit alone with their thoughts for 10 minutes without reaching for stimulation. Train yourself to resist that impulse. Silence sharpens intelligence. Stillness sharpens strategy. Deep work sharpens value. The world pays enormous rewards to people capable of sustaining. Almost nobody can do it anymore. And remember this carefully, you do not need to impress everyone. You only need to outgrow your previous self consistently. Tiny improvements every evening eventually become life-changing transformations. Exercise 30 minutes consistently. Study one new skill daily. Got great content regularly. Invest carefully. Build slowly. Think long-term. That is how real wealth forms, not through hype. Not through shortcuts, not through lottery thinking, but through steady compounding behavior repeated for years. Speed. But sustainable success usually grows quietly, like roots underground. You may not see immediate results. Trust the process anyway. Trust the math anyway, because discipline always pays eventually, maybe not instantly, but inevitably. Inevitably, and one day, if you remain consistent long enough, something incredible happens. Your evenings begin buying your mornings back. Your skills create leverage. Your investments create freedom, your business creates options, your discipline creates confidence, and suddenly you realize something powerful. You are no longer trapped. That is the goal, money, freedom to choose how you spend your time, freedom to say no, freedom to think independently, freedom to live intentionally. Most people never reach that level because they keep surrendering their evenings. Do not make the same mistake. Tonight matters, tomorrow night matters, every evening from this point forward matters. When you walk through your front door tonight, pause for a moment, look at the television, look at your phone, look at the endless distractions competing for your attention, and ask yourself honestly, who benefits from how I spend my evenings? Is my current routine building my future or destroying it? Am I becoming stronger or weaker? Am I growing or escaping? Your answers will reveal or delaying it, because the life you want is not hidden in some magical future opportunity. It is hidden in your daily decisions, especially the ones nobody sees, especially the ones this mid 6 p.m. That is where destinies quietly change. That is where wealth begins. That is where freedom is built. Take your evenings back. Take your focus back. Take your future back before the world steals another year from you.